Welcome to Third Wave Business Systems RMA Return Maintenance Authorization Application Overview. My name is Dennis Tucker. I'm the Development Manager at Third Wave, and I'll be providing you with some insight today into what the RMA application can do for your organization to allow for the easy creation and enforcement of return policies that are unique to your business. RMA's key functionality includes the use of user-defined codes allowing you to track returns using your company's terminology, the ability to identify customers and items being returned for analysis reporting, the integration with standard SAP Business One sales return functionality, automated service call creation, which can be assigned on a user-by-user basis, automated inventory warehouse transfers to move items between locations, and inspection functionality that allows you to record the condition of the items returned. RMA provides the capability to issue authorizations, track status, and process materials returned from customers. The authorization and tracking processes are independent of standard SAP Business One functions to provide information about returns without impacting on-hand inventory and financials. At the same time, RMA is integrated with standard SAP Business One functions such as sales returns, inventory transfers, and service calls to provide a seamless process flow. Gain tighter control of your RMA processes, control costs, and turn dissatisfied customers into repeat business. This integration does it all. The RMA application is easy to configure and can mostly be done through a custom screen located under the Administration Setup menu in SAP. Click the RMA configuration option. The configuration screen allows you to define the default returns warehouse, the number of days before the RMA is considered to have expired, the default item type, either none, serial, or batch, based on the type of items you typically sell, the default return reason code and disposition code if creating an RMA, and the default return reason code and disposition code if creating the RMA automatically from a service call. These return reason codes and disposition codes are completely customizable and can be defined according to your needs by clicking the buttons to the right of the field. There is a checkbox to designate that the RMA application will automatically populate the inventory transfer form for you at the completion of the inspection. And the item passed, item failed, and item requires service warehouses can be defined here. The area below allows for the specification of default values for the service call if the RMA application is going to be creating it for you. Keep in mind that while these values are specified, they are simply defaults and can be modified during the process. The user also has the ability to define custom failure codes and service codes which can be used during the inspection process to designate why an item is deemed to have failed inspection or designated as requiring service. The other configuration item is a user-defined field on the user's screen which designates how the user will be utilizing the RMA application. Each user can be set up to not use the RMA application, to create RMAs from the service call screen, or to create the service call from the RMA inspection screen based upon the needs of their jobs. Now that the RMA setup is complete, we can move on to an actual processing demonstration. Under the Sales AR menu, click on the RMA Maintenance menu option to load the RMA screen. You'll notice that the screen looks very similar to any other SAP marketing document screen, and it has all of the standard lookups. We'll select a customer for our RMA, and you'll notice that the receiving warehouse was set to the default value from our configuration screen. Set the due date to when we think the return will be received. The return reason code and disposition code were also set to default configuration values. I'll enter the item being returned and set the quantity to 3 because that's how many the customer will be sending back. You can specify up to 3 different reason codes for the return per line on the RMA. If I were specifying a serialized or batch item, you would also have to put the information in the serial batch ID field, and the standard SAP serial batch searches are available depending on the item type selected. The RMA also has a standard remarks field on it. However, if you find that you have a need to place line item specific notes, there is also a special notes user-defined field at the end of each line item. We'll add the RMA document and it will exist in the SAP system until the returned items are received. The RMA application comes with several basic queries installed which can be used, for example, to determine which RMAs have expired or to view inspection results. These can be executed or set up as alerts in SAP. Several queries with the CW designation can also be run through ThirdWave's APP application through the right-click menu on SAP screens like the Business Partner Master Data screen. To continue our demo, we're going to assume that we received the 3 returned items that we were expecting. Now we'll go back to our RMA and we'll copy that to a return document. The information will be carried over and the remarks of the return will reflect the RMA document that it originated from. The RMA document number is also available in a user-defined field on the return. Before I complete the return, we'll look at the item information by warehouse, and you can see that I currently have 2 of them in the designated returns warehouse. Once the return document is added to the SAP system, the quantity in the returns warehouse has increased to 5. I'll reload the RMA screen and you'll notice that 2 new tabs are available. The Service Call tab is populated with data once the RMA is connected to a service call. The Results tab will display a row for each row on the Contents tab of the RMA and will provide information on where you are in the process. At this point, there are 0 open since we've received the 3 we were expecting, and there are 3 to be inspected. There are 2 ways to initiate the inspection. The first way is through an RMA inspection menu option in the Inventory SAP menu, which will load a screen with parameter ranges of RMA document number, customer code, or warehouse code that allow you to inspect multiple RMAs at one time. This could be useful if your process would be to check all items of a particular type, like memory chips, at one time regardless of the RMA they came from. The second way is to simply click the RMA inspection button on the RMA form. This will load the inspection screen populated with the data for the individual RMA. Select the checkbox next to the item or items that you want to inspect and enter the quantity that passed inspection, the quantity that failed inspection, up to 3 reason codes for the failures, the quantity that requires service, and up to 3 reason codes for the items requiring service. The inspection also has general remarks and notes that can be placed on the individual inspection lines. I'll add the RMA inspection, and because we've selected the configuration to enable inventory transfers, I'm prompted if I want to create the transfer based on the inspection results. I'll select Yes, and the inventory transfer screen will be populated with the data. After I add the inventory transfer to the system, I'll go back to my RMA document and drill back to the item inventory information. I can see that the returns warehouse quantity is back to 2 because the item passed was transferred to the general warehouse to be resold, the failed item was transferred to the defective warehouse, and the item requiring service was transferred to the service warehouse. Clicking on the Results tab again will show us how the inspected items were processed, with a quantity of 1 in each of the 3 columns. The process of creating an RMA from a service call is as simple as completing the service call in the SAP system, going back to your service call, clicking the Create RMA button, which will populate the RMA maintenance screen with the information from the service call, additionally utilizing the configuration items we previously set up. Add the RMA into the system. Once you've done that, you can load your RMA and click on your Service Call tab to see the data relationship between your RMA and your service call. For more information on the Return Maintenance Authorization application or any of the other applications that ThirdWave offers, please visit our website at www.twbs.com. You can click the Contact Us link in the upper right corner of the page. Existing ThirdWave partners and customers can obtain more information through the support portal by clicking the Customer Support link in the upper right corner of the page. Thank you for your time and attention.